Sumentro ang ika-4 na araw ng impeachment trial sa direct examination ng prosekusyon kay NBI Regional Director Attorney Jeremy Lotoc. Himayin natin ang naging paglilitis ngayong araw kasama ang political analyst na si Jesus Jess Falsis live dito sa PRTV Studios. Magandang gabi sa inyo, Sir Jess. Welcome back sa Arangkada Balita.
Good evening. It's nice to be here.
Yes. So what is your general assessment dito sa direct examination ni Attorney Ligutan kay Attorney Lotoc kanina?
I think para sa ating mga nanonood, mas welcome yung hearing today or trial today kasi less yung objections, mas tuloy-tuloy yung pagsagot ng witness, although nag-object pa din minsan or from time to time yung defense, lalo na ngayong medyo nakarang isang oras ng trial, while we're speaking, may mga issues pa din as to certain parang typo or typographical errors or dates. But in general, mas nakahinga tayo. Kasi last week, grabe talaga, todo yung objections na parang hindi na siya nagte-testify at puro objections na lang ang naririnig natin.
Yes, actually, parang people felt na parang may delaying tactic ba or may baka ayaw nilang magsalita pa siya, di ba? Pero lahat yun ay, di ba, pinasalita pa rin ni Presiding Officer Senator Cheese Escudero yung witness. Pero ang isa ko pang tanong, Attorney Jess, ay etong si Attorney Lotoc na mismo ang nagsabi na para sa kanila ay gumawa ng grave threats at inciting to sedition si VP Sara. Gaano kahalaga ito sa magiging takbo ng impeachment?
Mahalaga ito kasi ang article of impeachment actually focuses more on grave threats per se. And ngayon, narinig natin, meron pa palang component na inciting to sedition. So it could actually just be it could be a bigger crime than just sa grave threats. Kasi ang impeachable offenses sa ating saligang batas ay high crimes, betrayal of public trust, etc. Dito pumapasok itong artikulo na to. Yung grave threats, although it's not a high crime, it's a betrayal of public trust. But if there was also inciting to sedition, that could be considered kasi wala pang definition ng Supreme Court ng high crimes, Although high crimes, generally, we think of treason, we think of plunder, but inciting to sedition to try to remove the power of the government over a certain jurisdiction and kill the head of the government. If inciting to sedition is indeed found here sa kaso na to, then that could be considered high crime. So, yun yung na-establish ni Attorney Lotoc, among other things, lalo na dun sa grave threats, na meron siyang sinasabing 4 factors why he considers the grave threats were real, serious, and even if it's conditional, it doesn't matter na it's still a grave threat because of the 4 factors such as the nature of how the words were uttered. Among other things, so punta ko na yung pinaka-importante sa tingin ko, ang pinoint out ni Attorney Lotoc yung nature of the instruction. Karamihan sa atin, ang naalala natin sa grave threats ng ating pangalawang Pangulo, yung may kinausap na akong tao na pag pinatay ako, patayin itong 3 tao. Yun yung naalala natin usually, Sabi ni Attorney Lotoc, actually may isa akong narinig o tinitingnan that tells me na talagang grave threats ito. Ano ito? Yung sinasabi na wag mong tigilan hanggang hindi mo mapatay. So sinabi ni Attorney Lotoc, ang dating sa kanya, persistent yung request or persistent yung intention to actually be able to kill, quote-unquote, these 3 people. So grave yung threats kasi persistent, talagang relentless, walang sawa. So isa daw yun sa mga factors na tiningnan niya, kaya grave threats para sa kanya.
Oo, and isa sa mga pinopoint out yung pag-hire ng assassin. Sabi ni Attorney Lotoc, hindi pa validated yung identity ng supposed assassin na ito na binayaran daw ni VP Sara. Importante bang mahanap itong assassin na ito para patunayan yung paglabag sa grave threat?
Not necessarily. So hindi siya importante kasi kahit na walang ebidensya to point na meron talagang kinontratang assassin at hindi natin ma-identify itong assassin, hindi naman yun yung punto ng artikulo Ang punto ng impeachable article na ito ay merong unfitness or hindi fit ang pangalawang Pangulo to be the Vice President because she committed betrayal of public trust. Balikan ko lang yung last week, related kasi siya dito, sinasabi ng defense, 32 million ang bumoto sa pangalawang Pangulo. Actually, that argument doesn't work for the defense. It works for the prosecution because it means 32 million trusted the Vice President to be a reasonable president, Vice President, to be a vice president worthy of her position. By threatening to assassinate the first family, she has betrayed that public trust. We have to point that out. But second, if you threatened the president, who also has 31 million votes, even though it's just slightly lower than the vice president, it doesn't follow na justified yung threats. Actually, it emphasizes that there is betrayal of public trust.
Wala nga raw koneksyon yung kung gaano karami ang bumoto sa'yo doon sa pinag-uusapan natin dito. Pero speaking, going back to assassin kanina, no, may tinanong si Senator Bam Aquino. Oo, kung meron daw ba silang sagot na or sinabi na dinedenay nila, no, na nag-hire ba ng assassin. At parang ang gulo ng sagot or yung sagot nila, kailangan yan tanungin several times if they actually denied it.
Last week, narinig natin yung opening statement. Wala tayong narinig na categorical statement kay Attorney Sheila Sison na inosente si VP Sara. Ang sabi niya, presumed innocent lang. Walang, my client is not guilty or my client is innocent. Wala.
Dapat ba ganon?
Ngayon, parang ganun din last week. Ngayon, ang ginawa naman, wala kaming sinasabi that she never contracted an assassin. Ang sinasabi namin, general denial. Ang hinahanap ng isang senator judge, kawawa I think itong si Attorney Mark Pinluan, kasi hindi niya directly respond yung tanong ni Senator Bam Aquino, which is there a specific denial?
Yes.
Ang sagot ng defense counsel, we have a general denial. Which is not enough kasi ang hinahanap ng senator judge, may specific denial ba kayo? Kasi napaka-specific nung allegation, which is you contracted an assassin. Kung hindi talaga yan totoo, like ako, kapag sinabihan mo ako, oh, you contracted an assassin, sabi ko, ha, hindi. That's ridiculous. Gaganon ako kagad. Ba't hindi daw magawa ng defense?
Oo, hindi raw nila nakita. Sabi, i-review pa.
Sa answer sa documents, mukhang nagbabasa at gumagawa ng assignment si Senator Bam kasi binasa daw niya at wala daw siyang maalala.
Oo, so ang sinabi lang, we deny.
At inamin yun ng defense na specific denial, wala. General denial lang daw na we denied all allegations.
Oh, so how will that affect the case?
Well, that could affect the case as to one senator judge. It is more or less clear that Senator Bam Aquino is looking for a specific denial. So dapat, pag nag-present na ng evidence ang defense later, sana may mapakita silang evidence to controvert or rebut the hiring of an assassin.
So, sino pa sa mga senator judges ang sa tingin mo or napakinggan mo kanina na maganda yung mga naitanong nila or nakatulong or hindi nakatulong, whether or whatever, di ba? Sa depensa or sa prosecution?
Well, mukhang si Senator Alan Peter Cayetano, syempre aktibo, pero hindi positive for the prosecution. Parang more for the defense lagi yung mga tanong niya. Hindi ako nagagalingan personally, no? Pero yun yung style niya, and baka i-clarify na din natin, no? Baka matanong nyo na po kagad. Okay lang ba na ang senator judge ay parang may tanong na quote-unquote pumapanig or mukhang panig sa isang side?
Yun nga.
So, ang totoo dyan, sa totoo lang, while for us, the public, it might be morally wrong or parang questionable, legally, and based on the Senate impeachment rules, there's nothing wrong with that. Nasabi na ni Senator Miriam Defensor Santiago noon, walang pakialamanan ang mga senator judges. They are free to ask questions that they want. Kasi, just because they ask a question, doesn't mean na yun na yung kanilang punto. For example, Senator Risa Ontiveros last week, she was heavily criticized even by some allies.
Yes.
Pero si Attorney Sal Panelo, na kalaban, na DDS, sabi tama si Senator Risa. It's because open-ended yung tanong ni Senator Risa. What is the relevance of your evidence to the impeachable offense? General, ang sabi ni Senator Pia, sabi ng iba, oh, she's already judging on the merits, medyo advanced yung question, mali. Yes, tanong niya yun eh. At capacity or capability dapat ng prosecution or defense to answer it because they can argue for or against. And the senator judge will just listen and decide for him or herself kung ano ba yung papaniwalaan niya. It doesn't mean na yung nagtanong siya, yun na yung pinaniniwalaan niya. But I do understand yung mga general public, yung ating mga kababayan, na baka nag-iisip, ay itong senator judge na to, pabor na sa defense. Itong senator judge na to, pabor na sa prosecution. Pwede, pero it doesn't follow.
Okay. At sinabi naman ng depensa kanina, no, na magpapatawag sila ng testigo raw na magpapatunay sa Operation Romanov. Paano ito makaka-apekto sa impeachment?
Walang Operation Romanov kasi, yan ang sinasabi ng ating depensa at ni Vice President Sara Duterte na rason bakit siya nakapagbitaw ng mga grave threats. It's allegedly because meron din daw threat sa buhay nila. Ang unang relevance nito no, sa araw na to para isip natin kagad kanina anong kinalaman ng Operation Romanov. Naririnig natin kaso ano kasi ito medyo banyagang idea. Foreign idea because Operation Romanov is from a different country, no? Pero kanina, na-mention na ng NBI ni Attorney Jeremy Lotok na nag-investigate din naman ng NBI sa mga threats sa buhay ni VP Sara. So mali yung sinabi ng defense na hindi daw nila in-investigate yung threats kay VP Sara. Last week, pinagmumukhang biased ang NBI. They're not. They investigated the threat against the president. They also investigated the threat against the vice president. It's just the vice president did not cooperate. So kung may Operation Romanov na totoo, dapat si Vice Presidente, si Pangalawang Pangulo, siya na nagbigay ng ebidensya sa NBI. Siya nagsasabi na may Operation Romanov But hindi nyo pa natatanong, we have to clarify agad. Actually, ang pinakaunang nagsabi ng Operation Romanov is Mayor Baste Duterte. The first family, the president, never said anything about Operation Romanov against the vice president and the Duterte family. It was Mayor Baste who cautioned.
Yes.
Sabi niya, mag-ingat ka, Pangulo, sa Operation Romanov. Sometime 2024, sometime 2023. I'm not sure kung 2023 or 2024. So
saan ang galing yun?
ang relevance po niya sa trial is kung totoo yun, pwede kong makita na yung depensa merong defense, which is meron daw pinanggagalingan yung grave threats
Oo.
ni VP Sara. Pero kung hindi yung totoo, edi walang pinanggagalingan yung grave threats ni VP Sara. And she should be held accountable for her grave threats.
Oo, pero yun na nga parang kung wala nga tayong narinig na sinabi ng kampo, wala nga naman yung sabihin nila, di ba? Pero ibig ko sabihin, ang nanggaling nga yun kay Mayor Baste Duterte.
Na-fact check ang defense.
At may video yun.
Yes, may video yun. Na-fact check ang defense, na-fact check si VP Sara. And let's emphasize, si Mayor Baste, he has continuously also made threats against the president. For example, in a recent Rage Coalition, yung bago nilang coalition,
yes.
sabi niya, isang ulo lang ang kailangan namin or ang gusto namin, referring to the president.
Okay. So ano naman po ang dapat nating asahan sa pagharap naman ni OVP, dating OVP Chief of Staff, Attorney Zulaika Lopez bilang testigo bukas? Yan, medyo inaabangan talaga ng lahat.
Kaabang-abang yan kasi si Attorney Zulaika is in the thick of things, no? Nung nag-grave threats si VP Sara, sabi ng defense, may kontekstong pinanggagalingan. At last week, ang ginamit nilang konteksto, si Attorney Zulaika mismo. So yun yung relevance niya una. Okay. Ang pangalawang relevance niya para sa prosecution naman, bakit nila tinatawag? Sa tingin ko tingnan natin bukas kung tama, kaya nila gustong tawagin si Attorney Zulaika Lopez is because nandun siya nung ginawa ni VP Sara yung grave threats. Narinig niya, kasama niya sa kwarto, so she can also testify doon sa mood, doon sa behavior, doon sa sinabi ni VP Sara. Other than that, malaking question mark na. Ano ang magiging testimonya ni Attorney Zulaika at anong intensyon ng prosecution in calling her? Kasi naririnig na natin, she will be called as a hostile witness.
Yes.
Ang hostile witness ay isang witness na hindi naman friendly sa'yo. Tinawag mo siya, pero hindi mo siya nakausap before testifying. Hindi mo alam anong sasabihin niya. And most likely, ang sasabihin niya ay paborable doon sa kalaban mong testigo or doon sa kalaban mong respondent, which is the Vice President. Obviously, Attorney Zulaika is the Chief of Staff of the OVP, so her testimony will most likely be favorable to the Vice President. So as a hostile witness, she will have to be qualified as a hostile witness, and after that, it remains to be seen how the prosecution will manage
Yun
a hostile witness.
So it could make or break.
It could be good or bad for the prosecution.
Yeah, good or bad.
Later, after this week, baka sabihin natin, ay, wrong move for the prosecution. Or, we can also say, wow, genius move. Kasi ang dami pa nilang nakuha.
At yan ang aabangan natin bukas. Nako, maraming salamat sa inyong oras sa ating political analyst, Jesus Jess Falsis. Magandang gabi po.
Maraming salamat.